Good morning. Welcome to the third in a series of 3 web conferences. Today is February 4th, and we want to make sure that you've removed all your distractions and are prepared for class. Please shut your door and turn off your phone. This web conference will take approximately 15 minutes. If you haven't done so already, run through your audio setup wizard and make sure your audio is working correctly. And please put down your virtual hand. It looks like all of you have already done that. Virtual students, welcome, and please plan to submit a missed class summary at the end of this session. So we're going to start with a quality check. Please verify that you can hear me clearly, that you can see the red recording light at the top of the screen, and that you can see the slide with quality check at the top of your slide. If you could give me a green check if all of those are true. Good, it looks like that's working for everyone. So welcome to the first of 3 sessions on the community of learning and e-learning. These are our learning objectives today. We want to describe the importance of collaboration in a blended classroom, contrast social media communication and collaboration, and identify and explain some common misconceptions about blending learning. I want you to list and explain some tips on maintaining the teacher's social and cognitive presence in the blended classroom. So we'll get started with an icebreaker. This is called Something in Common. I'm going to set the timer for approximately 2 minutes so we don't spend too much time on this. And what you're going to do is try to find something in common with everyone in the class and put it over on the screen on the right-hand side. So a physical characteristic, for example, you all have blonde hair or blue eyes or something like that, and continue. So go ahead and get started. You can write it right on the screen, or if you can put it in the text box if that's easier for you. And you guys can talk to each other if you want to and see if there's something that you all have that are the same. Do either of you wear glasses?
I do.
Brett, do you wear glasses? Yay.
I only have them on every flat surface in my house, yes.
That's me too.
I buy them by like the 6-pack from Amazon.
So do I. And then I'm looking for a pair, and I have one on my head already. It bangs into the other pair. That's when I know I'm really losing it.
And I guess we could all put continuous college education because it seems like what we all do. Stay in school. Does everybody have a brother or a sister or something for a family member that's in common?
Do we all have a sibling? Somebody in the military?
Cheryl, I've never been out of well, I've been to Canada, so I guess I have been out of the U.S.
I guess you got me. I've also been to Canada.
All right, we just have a few more seconds to compare notes as far as things that you have in common. So the purpose of this icebreaker is demonstrating what is seen in conversation and social media. People tell each other little bits of information that they want them to know, but there's no active exploration or discussion to better understand a concept or an idea. Virtual students, you can do this activity with your family members or other groups. All right, so let's go ahead and move on into our exploration phase. So collaboration does depend on a sense of purpose and a commitment to explore. It depends on good communication. Technology can facilitate this communication, and the written word and reading can effectively replace listening and speaking, which is what we're seeing more in the classroom. But they have the advantage of allowing additional time to consider alternatives before you have to take a stand. Social media is not a replacement for discourse. we just saw in our icebreaker that you can give little bits of information, but it tends not to get any further. And an icebreaker should not be chosen for its entertainment benefits, so I chose this one to help us differentiate between what we're looking for in collaboration and what we see in social media. Written communication on our discussion board should also not be superficial. And technology provides the opportunity for people from different backgrounds and cultures to participate in educational experiences. It allows better examination of biases and also lets us generate more perspectives on an issue or a topic. Most of us seek some sort of interaction with like-minded people, and that tends to enforce our biases. But we have to be really careful when we give advice to the teacher in the case study that technology has to add to the educational experience, not just be an add-on to it. There are some common misconceptions about teaching, and we're going to look at 3 common misconceptions before we go to the case study. And then I'm going to ask you to help a teacher who has access to technology for the first time in her classroom and would like to try blended learning. Virtual students, please also answer the following 3 questions in your Miss Class summary. So misconception 1, mobile learning is more of a distraction than an enhancement. Are mobile learning and e-learning synonymous? Please type in the text chat 1 benefit and 1 drawback you think mobile devices such as cell phones can have in an educational environment. And I see you're all working on that. If you want to say it instead of type it, that's fine too. So Brett says a benefit is quick access to information, but a drawback is limited computing power. And Cheryl says, I don't like to use mine because I can't see the screen well enough. I guess back to the glasses that we saw in the beginning.
I think I'm just going to say mine because I can't type as fast. But I also think that one of the benefits I see in my classes where my students will actually look something up if there's a disease process that they don't understand, or maybe a few of us question, somebody will bring it up, but the distraction is them going off in class. Yeah, when someone calls and they don't have them silenced.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So it's going to take time for everyone to feel comfortable with the switch over to mobile communication. I had a student come in yesterday for CV editing, and usually they bring me a written copy and we edit it right when we're meeting. But this time he brought his tablet and a pen, and it really felt a little bit clunky and a little bit hard to edit his CV on his tablet, but it's a thing of the future. All right, the next misconception is lecturing is essential for student understanding. So if you could get on the microphone and give me 1 reason why lecturing is no longer felt to be the best way to learn. Use your information from Make It Stick for ideas. So Cheryl, I see you're ready. Why is lecturing not good?
Well, because people tune out. Our attention spans aren't that long anymore, and a couple minutes of lecture and usually people have tuned out.
Yeah, that's a good point. And my son we did a practice run of this yesterday, and his answer was, it's just boring. So I guess that's another
also
good
true.
answer. All right, we'll move on. There is not enough time to provide face-to-face and online instruction is another misconception. So could you use your pen and point to any aspect of this picture of a classroom that demonstrates this really isn't true, that blended learning can take place in a classroom? So I see one person has circled the 2 girls sharing a tablet there and looking up information. There's another girl in the back who might be watching a video or something that's further explaining a concept. And in the far back of the room, we have several students collaborating on something. So I think we can integrate all of them together. So the teacher, as the guiding member, must balance instruction with collaboration. Student must not get enough background information to feel competent to solve the problems, but not so much guidance that they rely on the teacher to do all the work. All right, for our case study, Mary is an experienced science teacher who's been teaching for 10 years. She has always lectured and utilized physical labs in her classroom. Her principal has just been awarded a new grant that allows him to spend $5,000 on science classrooms, but the money can only be used for technology. He's purchased 20 laptops, smart boards, 5 digital microscopes, and 10 data collection devices. Mary used them last year in her classroom and said she's done with that. She's returning to lecturing in physical labs. The students just played around too much on the web, disregarded the instructions for the assigned lab, and copied each other's lab reports. Can you help her? Please give 5 specific suggestions on how to effectively integrate technology into her class. So if you guys would all move to the same room, room 1, I'm going to give you 4 minutes to come up with 5 suggestions. 1, because you guys are really experienced, and yesterday they didn't need that much time. And then at the end of 4 minutes, we'll move you guys back to the main room. All right, virtual learners, while they're all in the breakout room working on helping Mary with her teaching, also I'd like you to come up with 5 things that Mary can do to integrate technology effectively into her science classroom. In addition to listing your suggestions on the Miss Class summary, could you please post your favorite one to the discussion board and then reply to 2 other students giving your opinion on why their suggestions may not work in your classroom. All right, you all have 1 minute before I return you back to the main room. There was an internet delay there for a minute, so I had a hard time getting to room 1 and back again, but here we are. So who's going to be the speaker and let me know your answers for how you're going to help Mary?
Hey, Leanne. I'll go ahead and go. I don't know if you can hear me or not, Leanne. So we collectively came up with all of these, and actually we came up with 1 plus a bonus for bonus points. So we would say suggestion 1 would be establish ground rules at the beginning, limit its time of use, oversee the use, walk around the classroom and make sure that the students are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Incorporate a plagiarism checker to prevent that. And I think it was Renee recommended using Interactive Lab Online, so that could be monitored as well. And then
Wrong. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. And then the last one would be incorporate a self-reflection, and that would ensure that the students. Go ahead. I think you're having some audio difficulties there.
Okay, good.
Okay, there you go.
I do too. All right, so we'll continue, even though there does seem to be some audio problems, and we'll have to cut these out. Tip is that Mary should watch her group sizes. They must be cohesive groups that work well together and provide the opportunity for all members to be involved and engaged, but small enough for everyone to be engaged, but large enough to get a diversity of opinion. She should utilize case problems or studies that seem pertinent to the students. Why not let them design their own labs utilizing the microscopes and the data gathering equipment, and then run the labs, write their reports, and present their research. She could also use technology to facilitate the discourse in the classroom and discourage social media. Maybe each group could have their own web page where they could post their progress, take pictures of their labs. Their web pages maybe could be shared with students and other classes or family members. And since the technology is new for all of them, ask the students for ideas on usage. Maybe use clickers or use restrictive software to limit that web surfing that she was concerned about. And lastly, in order to motivate the students, Mary should make sure she chooses assessments based on the objectives that she has set for the class and that they're in line with the activities she chose. You may show her the UBD template and demonstrate how to use it. This will motivate her students to see the class activities as something important to their learning and not just busy work. So in summary, it will take some time for people to develop enough comfort with the technology that they will see it as added value in the classroom and not just something else for them to do. For the in-class students, I'll stay behind and answer any questions, and for the virtual students, email me questions with your Miss Class summary. And these are the references that were used. Well, thank you all for coming this morning. Sorry we had some audio trouble in the middle there, but hopefully it'll all work out.